Hey guys, I'm Sage Valentine and I'm back here to do another review of AMC's The Walking Dead Season 9. This review video is all about Episode 7 entitled Stradivarius. So let's get down to business, and to keep with the trend, I will continue to upload these videos on the Monday after the episode airs, and I'll continue this trend right after the mid-season premieres this winter. I'm trying to remember if it's like February or March. At one point it came back in like late February, early March, but it's the winter time, so the show will be back then. So let's just get down to this review. Michael Cudlitz needs to direct more episodes. So far in this season, this is officially my favorite episode because Michael did an amazing job directing it. It was phenomenal from start to finish. I loved it. I can't wait to see what Andrew Lincoln brings to the table in the future, because for those of you who don't know, he will also be directing an episode pretty soon. I felt so sorry for Rosita in that opening sequence because she was running. She had like some blood on her face. She was out of it. Looked like she had been running so much that she had used up all her energy, and she could hear these voices say something like, "Where is she? She was over there." And I'm just like, how close are these whisperers? Now, I won't say much about them because I don't want to spoil the big reveal, but you're going to learn a lot about them in episode 8 and into the second half of the season, and it's definitely going to shock you. And I'm speaking to those who have not read the comics. For those who have, you already know. You already know. I'm not surprised that Rosita passed out. That whole scene was intense and scary. It felt like a scary movie. Michael Cudlitz said on Talking Dead that he made the scene reminiscent of the Blair Witch Project with the handheld cameras and everything. And I thought that was a brilliant idea because it definitely was scary. So Daryl's become a nomad, and he has a dog whose name is literally Dog. And Carol, upon seeing him, and when she and Henry are following behind him, you can tell that Carol's very worried about him. Now, Michonne, as I said in episode 6's review, has every right to be suspicious of Magna and the group. Because as nice as they seem, things could change, and especially after what Magna tried to do and the fact that Magna had that weapon hidden and she took Kamiko's necklace and was going to try to stab Michonne. Yeah, Michonne has every right to be a little bit iffy about them. But I do agree with Sadiq that maybe she should have allowed them to stay at Alexandria with the rest of the group. But I do understand why she did what she did, though, and having them sent to Hilltop. They start, and by they I mean Magna's group, starts talking about the member that they lost. His name was Bernie, and Bernie used to, quote, bust Magna's balls, as people say. When people say, you know, somebody's busting my balls, they're picking at me, and it was all in good fun. But anyway, Bernie used to wear this ugly paisley shirt, and Magna hated it. Everybody side-eyed it, but he would wear it mostly to get under Magna's skin, and eventually he grew on Magna, and then what happened to him happened. So it's been 6 years since the last time Michonne went to Hilltop, and I'm sitting here wondering why, and I'm more than sure, considering how the writing is in this season, we're going to find out why, and it's going to be a mess. And by a mess, I mean it's going to make us go, damn, like, wow. Did they fight? Like, did somebody try to kill somebody? Did they get attacked? What in the hell happened? Anyway, the use of the Jesus and Mary Chain song, April Skies, was perfect for that scene to reintroduce us to the Hilltop. To see everybody working together, to see how they utilize the land and how there's like some sort of farm outside. Not even farm, it's like a, what's the word? Thinking of the word. It's like a huge garden, so to speak. And then everybody at Hilltop has a job. Nobody's sitting around chilling. Well, other than Jesus, because he is the leader of Hilltop. But Hilltop is very safe. It's just that everybody has to pull their weight. So apparently Enid is the official doctor of Hilltop. A lot of people will be worried about Enid saying, like, you know, the Hilltop keeps losing their doctors. The doctors keep getting killed. And I'm just like, I think we won't have to worry too much about Enid at this point. Apparently, it seemed like Tara was second in command, but then I realized that she is another leader of Alexandria. So apparently Michonne has not stepped foot in Hilltop in 6 years. I'm sitting here wondering why. But the cool thing about season 9 is that this plot hole will be filled, and it's probably going to be one hell of a story or a flashback or something to that effect that's going to make us go, damn. I'm just waiting for that damn. Well, the Jesus and Mary Chain song April Skies was used as kind of the soundtrack for the opening of the scene that reintroduced us to Hilltop. And Hilltop looks amazing, it looks safe, and everybody's pulling their weight. And everyone is working hard. Enid is the official doctor. Jesus is the leader of Hilltop, and Tara is his second. The only thing that is said about Maggie and her disappearance is that she is happy at the Commonwealth. And she writes letters to Jesus kind of telling him that she's doing fine and she's happy, but he's not reading these letters. I think Tara is the one reading the letters. Jesus believes that Maggie leaving is temporary and she'll be back. I believe that Maggie will be back as well, because rumor has it, and I've probably said this before, but I'm sorry, I'm going to repeat it for those of you who have just started watching my reviews, that Lauren Cohan signed up for a pilot for some show that's airing soon, or was supposed to be airing soon on ABC. Rumor has it that the show was not picked up. The last time I heard that rumor was a couple weeks ago. So I think that she may come back, because in the comic book there is a character that leaves and then they end up coming back. The thing is, we've had 2 characters leave, and one of them is allegedly not coming back, but I'm not sure if that person is not coming back. I don't believe a word that these writers of Walking Dead say, because they always go back on their word. But as far as Maggie is concerned, I think she might be back. I'm with Jesus on this one. Daryl has been alone for a very long time, and Carol basically wants him to go with her and Henry to Hilltop and stay at Hilltop and look after Henry. And at first, Daryl refuses. I'm not surprised that he refused. Now, Magna and her group are able to see their rig again, because Michonne, Sadiq, DJ, Magna, Kelly, Connie, Luke, and Kamiko are all headed to Hilltop, but they make this detour to go see about Magna and her crew's stuff. Well, their stuff is all torn up and thrown around, and to me, and I'm going to take out the part of me reading these comic books, to me it doesn't look like a normal herd did that, because normally when the herds do that, they kind of knock stuff over and walk over it. It just doesn't look right at all. So I'm wondering, did they come upon the Whisperers, and did the Whisperers come through and kind of throw around their stuff or ransack Magna's group stuff and steal some things? I'm wondering. Well, Magna is distraught because Bernie's stuff was trampled or something to that effect. I don't remember if the camera showed what happened to her. I just remember her like crying over some clothes. She's very distraught. Michonne asked DJ used to be a savior if I remember correctly, to take Magna's crews and Magna's weapons away. And she reveals that there's no way in hell she's going to allow them to head to Hilltop armed. And I don't blame her, especially when it comes to Magna, because Magna, don't forget, last episode she wanted to kind of take over Alexandria. Michonne senses that in Magna, and she doesn't trust Magna. Not that she trusts the rest of the group, but she really doesn't trust Magna. Then we see Jesus riding his horse, and he gets knocked off his horse by Aaron, and they're fighting a little bit, and the scene is kind of cute. I don't know, I've been kind of looking at Jesus and Aaron as besties for a long time. I know what happens with them in the comic book. Honestly, I don't know if they're going to do that on the show, but that scene was actually kind of cute. And we see Jesus and Aaron having a conversation, and basically they have to sneak out to see each other because clearly there's bad blood between Hilltop and Alexandria. What in the hell happened to make that happen? We still don't know yet, but I'm sure we're going to find out soon. Aaron says that he is breaking protocol to see Jesus. So something bad really did happen. Alrighty. Apparently Michonne does not want them to have the fair. The comic book people know what the fair is. As for everybody else, just wait. You'll see. Aaron says even after the council put it to a vote, then a revote, Michonne was like, nope. And she shot it down. And then all of a sudden they see this flare up in the air, like whoosh. And then Rosita is who they find. She's the person who shot off that flare. And I'm so glad they found her because I was worried about her. Apparently she left Eugene at a barn. And I guess she ran off to get help and was overcome with exhaustion and fear that she passed out. Well, I think it was Aaron who wanted to go and look for Eugene, but Jesus was like, it's about to get dark. We need to go back inside because there were some walkers coming in the area, and we all know what happens when it gets dark in the zombie apocalypse. So they had to go, and they took Rosita back to, not Alexandria, Hilltop. Okay, so Doggy pops up. I'm calling him Doggy even though he's called Dog, and brings Daryl half of a walker foot. And I'm like, what the heck does this dog have this for? Henry realizes that Carol is trying to get Daryl to be Henry's chaperone, and he's not here for it. Then we see a scene of Carol giving Daryl a much-needed haircut, and he looked a lot better. That scene was actually kind of sweet because it had been a while since Daryl had been around anybody, especially Carol. Daryl was on his own for a while, even with his little dog. Apparently, Daryl's still looking for Rick after all this time because Rick's body was never found. Nope. That's because Rick is not dead, as we all know. Daryl made snake soup for himself and Henry and Carol. And Henry asked Daryl about the scar on his face, and Daryl won't answer. Daryl wonders why Dog didn't come and eat his dinner. Michonne is making her rounds, and she comes upon Luke, who is fixing something in the barn with the horses. And she tells him to turn around and drop it, and he won't do it. And then when he turns around, she lifts her katana and she slices something. I'm thinking she sliced his hand or something. Nope. It was a Stradivarius violin, a very rare violin that is now in 2 pieces. Henry couldn't sleep, and he heard Daryl milling about, and he came out of the tent he was in with Carol. And he's trying to see what Daryl was up to, and he comes upon a walker, and Daryl's just kind of pissed because he's like, dude, I don't need your help. Just go back to bed. And I'm still side-eyeing Henry because Henry's always like going off and doing something weird. And honestly, I don't feel like Henry is going to last long in this season. This is not any spoiler that I read or anything else. I just don't think Henry's going to last long because people are comparing Henry to Carl, But Carl did some foolish things, but Carl was a lot smarter than Henry, and Carl could really handle himself. Carl was more of a realist than an idealist. Henry is an idealist and a dreamer. He's not going to last long. So Daryl hears dog barking, and he and Henry come upon dog because Daryl had dog, I guess, tied so that dog would let him know if there were walkers in the area and if the walkers became a problem. Well, they became a problem. Daryl had to go and try to save dog. Dog somehow got stuck near the trap, or almost in the trap that Daryl set for the walkers nearby. As Daryl tries to save dog, Daryl gets grabbed by the walker in one of the traps and he falls, and it doesn't look good for Daryl. And here go the writers doing this. Every time they get a character and they keep putting them closer and closer to death, I feel like their death is coming, and some people will watch this and say, well, Daryl's going to be around for a while. The writers really need to stop putting Daryl in these situations where he almost dies, if that's supposed to be the case. Whether or not the actor received the money they received, the point is, like, I haven't been trusting these writers since they killed off Dale. And then they killed off Glenn, and then they killed off all these different characters who kept getting closer and closer and closer and closer to death. And Glenn was the biggest example of being close to death and getting in sticky situations and surviving until they get into one situation where they can't survive. But anyway, Daryl is able to free himself. He has to stop Henry from helping him, even though it looks like Daryl is in trouble. All right, so Daryl gets up, he frees dog, but as he's freeing dog, this walker's ankle separates from the foot, because in the scene they let us see it, and it's like opening kind of like this and like this and like this and like this. I'm just like, oh, that is so disgusting. So Henry ends up having to save Daryl from that particular walker. Daryl is so mad that Henry did not stay put, and Henry's just like, well, you're welcome. I could have just let the walker get you. Tara tells Jesus that Rosita passed out and she is a bit dehydrated, but she's okay. Apparently, Jesus and Aaron have been bonding together every so often in the past couple years. Jesus is holding on to the belief that Maggie will return. I believe that she will return. As to when she'll return, I have no idea. I'm not a writer, but I mean a writer for the show. But I think she's going to return. Now, Daryl has X's and scars on his back, just like Michonne. Who the hell put those X's and scars on his back? And I'm still wondering who the hell did that to Michonne. Daryl reveals that he ties up dog and puts him near one of the traps so that he will be able to alert Daryl when there's trouble in the area, i.e., a little too many walkers dragging themselves around. Usually, dog can alert him and there's no problem, but for some reason this time dog got stuck, and he doesn't normally get stuck. So, me being me, I'm sitting up here like, I wonder if one of the whisperers did something to dog, and that's why dog didn't come to get his breakfast. And then when they saw that dog was tied up, they did something to make sure that he would get stuck. And obviously dog can't talk. All he can do is bark. But still, somebody did something to him to make him get stuck. And Daryl ends up thanking Henry for saving him, and Henry thanks Daryl also for saving him. I believe that's what Henry thanked Daryl for. Daryl says that the traps are for walkers. They're not for animals, because that would be a very cruel death for an animal. Now, Henry's talking to Daryl, and he tells Daryl, listen, my mom, she is basically your best friend. She's worried sick about you. She misses you. And he tries to convince Daryl to come with them and to watch out for him at the hilltop. Then we hear Kimiko talking, and we learn that she and her group call the walkers sickos. So now we know another word for walkers. This word, we can add it to the Walking Dead lexicon, sickos. So apparently Luke travels around with a collection of instruments, and he does so because having the arts and music and sharing, these are the things that separate us humans from the animals. But in this series, from what I've seen, and I'm sure what you guys have seen in the past 9 seasons, is that that line between human and animal, particularly on the human side, seems to be getting shorter and shorter and shorter, if you get my drift. Some of these people they've come upon, and I'm not just talking about Negan. I remember Joe's group, the governor. I could go on and on. The Terminites. Yeah, that line is getting shorter. When Michonne decides to reveal, now that it's morning, that she is going to lead them as far as she can and then turn around and head back to Alexandria, that's when Siddiq says, Michonne, Maggie and her baby Herschel are not there. She bounced and took the baby and went to the Commonwealth. That's the place where Georgie and the twins are, and whomever else is living there is. Okay. Michonne's trying to get some information, like how long did you know, and such and such and such, and then the walkers show up, as they always do, and DJ comes running in like, it's time to go, let's go. And for a while, Michonne's running out, leading the pack with her katana, and Magnus' group is having a fit, like, we need our weapons, how the hell are we gonna fight? And at first, Michonne was ignoring them, being the badass as she is, and then all of a sudden, she tells Jesus, Lord, oh, this is what happens when I get in the middle of a conversation. I always end up, like, thinking of another character to say. This is when she tells DJ to give them back their weapons. And this is when it's revealed that quite a few of the people in Magnus' group have slingshots. People are calling them online the Slingshot Brigade, and they are badass. Those slingshots are everything. Kimiko is an amazing archer. Even Luke, who seems to be kind of the weakest in the group, he's pretty badass in his own right. Michonne realizes that this very herd that's descending upon the area that they are staying in at this moment is the same herd who attacked Magnus Group's rig and messed up all their stuff. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, we see a walker, a skinny one, come growling and dragging himself forward, and it turns out to be Bernie, the one guy from the group, Magnus group, that they lost. And he's a walker now, and Magnus kind of paralyzed. She doesn't know what to do, and Michonne ends up being the one to put him down, and I'm glad she did, because Magna was just frozen and the rest of the group was frozen. Daryl decides to go with Carol and Henry. I figured he would. Michonne's talking to Kimiko, and she assures them that they will be safe, and she kind of tries to level with her, saying, I know what it's like to have to protect my family, to protect someone and be there for someone when they're hurting, and so on and so forth. We learn that, as I just said, Maggie is at the Commonwealth. I believe Siddiq finally told Michonne this. Michonne at first refuses to go to Hilltop even after hearing that, until these 2 knights pop up, and one of them is C. Thomas Howell, the actor who played Ponyboy in The Outsiders. He kind of looks like a mountain man, but he's really playing this part with gusto, which is why I was so excited to see his name in the opening credits. I thought that he was going to initially be like one of the Whisperers, or the Whisperers. I was so excited, like, oh, he's going to be a Whisperer, we might see him. But this part is pretty cool, too. And he tells Michonne, Sadiq, DJ, and Magna and her group that Rosita's at the hilltop and she's injured, and that is the information that Michonne needs. She stops being stubborn and she's like, all right, tell them we're on our way, we're going in, and she heads out first. And as DJ is about to drive the cart forward, or like move the cart forward with the horses or signal to him, you know what I'm talking about, Connie is kind of looking around like something isn't right. I feel like somebody's there. And then everybody stops like, Connie, what do you see? And Connie's like, oh, it's nothing. Her gut feeling was right. There was definitely somebody out there and somebody watching them. Now the question is who? I think I have an idea of who it was. But we won't see that person for a little while. Probably after the mid-season finale. Probably maybe 2 or 3 episodes into the second half of the season. But honey, when we meet this person, I've been shaking my head for the past 3 years when it comes to the Whisperers. But, well, Henry, Carol, and Daryl arrive at the hilltop, and Henry's talking about Enid and how he wants to impress Enid, and this conversation reminds me of Carl coming of age and how he does so in the comic books, and I'm assuming that the show is going to show us just a little bit of that story arc, a little bit. So we see Henry, Daryl, Aaron, and Jesus and Carol all greeting one another. Aaron tells them about Eugene and Rosita, and Henry wants to help out, but Carol's like, no, I gotta get you settled in. So all of a sudden Jesus decides to go out there with Daryl, Dog, and Aaron. And Tara, during this episode, because I forgot to mention that, Tara was like, dude, you've been MIA for quite a bit. People are noticing that this is happening, and when Jesus reveals that he's going out to meet up with the others to go look for Eugene, Tara's like, all right, you do this time. I'll stay here and oversee things, but the next time some kid or that kid starts playing that kazoo and there's like a complaint about it, Jesus was like, well, I'll handle it. I promise you, I'll handle it. And then we see Daryl, Dog, and Aaron heading out with Jesus to go and find Eugene. Now, as far as this mid-season finale, that one scene with the fight at night, in the rainstorm, in the dark, in the woods, probably near that barn, looks scary as hell. I don't have a good feeling about the finale. It's not that the finale is going to be bad. It's just as far as the storyline and the fates of these characters, I don't have a good feeling about it. Not at all. But I'm so happy to see the Whisperers. You guys have no idea. I know I've been talking your ear off for the past couple years about it, but I'm so excited to see them. But you all take care, and we'll see what happens in the mid-season finale, and that review will pop up the Monday after the episode airs. I can't wait to see it. I'm so excited. But you all take care. Love you guys. Bye, guys. Love you all.